You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Show. I'm Jeff sitting in, and we are honored to be joined by Jodi Jacobson, President and Editor-in-Chief of Rewire.News. Jodi, you've been very generous with your time, and thank you for that. What are the arguments that you've seen or that you anticipate from the Republicans on the Senate committee and their assorted apparatus?
Well, I think they are going to try to discredit Dr. Blasey Ford, and I think that's one reason they want a woman to do this. You know, they had this idea that they were going to have their female staffers interrogate her rather than the senators themselves, and there's only one reason for that. Now they're thinking of bringing in outside counsel, but there's only one reason for that. This is a group of men. There's not one single woman senator on the Republican side of the Senate Judiciary Committee. There never has been a woman senator on that committee from the Republican side. There are 4 on the Democratic side. So having 80-year-old Chuck Grassley and his counterpart Orrin Hatch, both of whom have discredited her in their own comments already, questioning her is not a very good look for the Republicans, especially since it plays against the video from 27 years ago of those two same men discrediting Anita Hill. So you've got this, they've put themselves in a really tight spot, and they're trying to get out of it by changing the characters on the prosecutors, let's say. So they'll try to discredit her. They will try to say she's confused. They will pull out every trick in the book. They've already started to, as I said earlier, using these conspiracy theories that they're floating out there that, there's somebody else involved who looks like him and so forth. I think the Democrats really need to take this to Brett Kavanaugh because, again, he has lied under oath already several times about other issues, which I personally believe should be disqualifying for a Supreme Court justice. I mean, but our standards have fallen so far. But I really want to know. There was questioning of him by Chuck Grassley about his youthful indiscretions. And if you watch that tape, you know that they were trying to preset something. So I believe they may have known about this before. So I think the Democrats really need to delve into what was prepared in order to stave off this coming out, which they may have known about. Was he involved in some of these conspiracy theories that we now know are now coming out because they link to him? In other words, the people who are spreading them are linked to him. There are a whole range of questions apart from where he was he there, did he know Dr. Ford? I'm not on the Judiciary Committee, so I'm not involved in the preparation. I don't know all of the evidence they have. I can't really articulate what the most critical questions could be, but I do know that those are the things that at a minimum should be asked.
There was an article that was it in Salon Slate, I forget, that was this is the accusation that men have feared the most. I was talking to a colleague of mine, actually, she's the president of she's my boss, and who was saying, well, the thing is, and she was saying how much more of this happens, how many more men have, and I've talked about on this show about, not shielding my own self. I mean, like the toxic masculinity that I and friends of mine have been part of in our lives, and that and I don't want to sort of center men in this. I don't think like taking care of them is the most important thing we've got to do at this moment in history. But I do still have the question for those men who are being quiet at this moment because they don't want to throw stones because they think they themselves live in a glass house. What would be your advice, if you're willing, to them?
Well,
and you can just say it doesn't have to be anything.
I've heard stories of women who have come forth to say that they've been approached by people who have assaulted or attempted assault or harassed them in the past with heartfelt apologies. I think that is one approach. If you have something, let's, just say that's heavy on your heart, so to speak, then maybe one thing to do is to seek forgiveness from the person in question. I think we'd be in a very different place had Kavanaugh said, hey, I drank too much in high school and I did this and, I'm really sorry. But his history is one of misogynistic legal decisions and misogynistic behavior. He claims, for example, not to have known anything about the sexual harassment, rampant sexual harassment that went on in the chambers of Judge Kaczynski, with whom he is very close. That's kind of creepy because everybody else knew about it. How did he miss it? So I think he's a guy who has been given a pass for basically everything in order to carry the water for the far-right wing. And I don't know that many men fit that description, but many men, I know many men that have never committed assault, and of the men who have, I think, they need to figure out how they own their own behavior. I would say that's the most important thing.
Very helpful. Jodi Jacobson, we've got 30 seconds before break. Anything you want to plug or any insight, anything I should have asked that I didn't?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I appreciate you taking the time to talk about this. And, we do cover this regularly with lots of legal and other analysis at rewire.news. So we'd love for your listeners to visit our site and read our stuff. On
Twitter, what's your Twitter handle? JL Jacobson?
Yes.
And at @rewire_news and
yeah.
rewire.news. Thank you so much for being with us, Jodi.
Thank you.